Greetings, everyone. You're quite a crowd, so before anything else, I feel like thanking you for choosing us, since also this year we have a lot of interesting panels going on at the same time with us. And I will even dare to assume that if you are here with us, if you chose to be on this stage with us, it means that we share something in common, a common interest on how AI technology is going to be developed in Europe, and maybe a common vision about how it is to be developed. But before we go on with the very interesting discussion we're going to have, let me first of all make the background clear and clear the stage. So the AI Act is in our lives for quite some time, and it aims to set a clear set of rules when it comes to how we design, develop, and deploy AI systems. And whereas, it's very long, it has a lot of different provisions, the main logic is relatively easy. The higher the risk, the stricter the regulation, the more strict are the requirements. And what it tries to do at its very core is quite ambitious. It tries to balance innovation and competitiveness with protection of and respect of fundamental rights and freedoms, and at the same time, the preservation of ethical values that we deem important. And create something new, a new quality mark for AI systems, Trustworthy AI. Now, the problem is that whenever we discuss the AI Act, there is also this reoccurring discussion, this reoccurring fear. Does the European Union kill innovation? Does it maybe kill the competitiveness of its companies by suffocating them under more and more regulation and more obligations? And what does the next day for AI in Europe brings? And this is exactly what we're going to discuss about. Not just the next day, but the strategy behind the next day. How we can use the AI Act, how we can perceive it not just as another regulatory instrument, but as an instrument for innovation and competitiveness. How we can approach it, and this is what we will challenge you to do, approach the AI Act not just as another lengthy regulation, but as a rule book that sets clear and concise rules for the future of technology in Europe. And if you follow these rules from the beginning and you do it correctly, you can not only win the game, but also lead the way for the tomorrow of technology in Europe. And don't let those things that are being said about the digital omnibus, I'm going to bring this question, fool you into believing that the Commission takes back the AI Act. What it does is so casting how steadfast ready we are for the next day of AI and technological regulation in Europe. So with that, let me turn to my honorable co-speakers, Yannis and Petros, and start with a sort of introduction. Hello, gentlemen. Yannis.
Hello, Vassiliki.
What's your professional association with the AI Act? What do you do?
Hello. Hi, everyone. Does this work?
You can have mine.
I think now.
Okay.
Okay, it's fine. Thank you for being here. Many thanks to the organizers for this event. I am Yannis Krasonikolakis. I'm coming from Thornton, Greece, Technology Department. I am the head of Applied Intelligence and Predictive Analytics pillar.
Hello, everybody. I'm Petros Fragkiskos, and I'm partner at Drakopoulos law firm at the Technology Department.
So I have the two edges of the compliance, right? Do law and technology meet?
We think so, yeah, that's why we're here.
We must.
Awesome. So if I wanted to ask you to summarize with a phrase, like something very short, what has changed with the AI Act? Now, I will start with Petros. What would that be?
Many people believe that AI Act was another GDPR, that was a regulatory framework that would stop businesses. So this is not true. The AI Act brings rules in an unharnessed game, a global game, so it helps to create trustworthy AI. So if we started by design, when we have a business, either we are users or producers, this is the way that we'll go forward. So trustworthy AI, and not many things change.
Yannis?
True, I agree with that. And based on the trustworthy part, I would say that it guides us, it provides a safe route on how we start from, what are the design, what are the requirements, how we move on with the process and then with the results, and be safe and actually responsible for the society, for the company, and for our employees as well.
So rules and ethics. Okay. Now, there is usually a distance between what the law says and what the market understands and what the companies perceive. So based on your professional experience, Yannis, let's start with you. What is the biggest mistake that the companies make?
That's a good question, because there are many mistakes, and at the same time, there are many advantages as well. Practically wise, and being honest, we need to start from the monetary value. So it is costly. It's something that it's considered not as an innovation tool or an approach for the company, but on the other side, as a cost that we need to take in. And actually, we cannot measure the results. So no matter what we say, and its importance, and how interesting it would be in 5 years from now, the problem is that it is something that involves high cost and also commitment from the company as well, and I mean the employees of the company. So I would say that this is the main issue, at least, that we face, not only in Greece, but in a European level as well.
Mm-hmm. So the focus on the bill. Petro?
Okay, this is really important what Yannis said, but from the projects that we've done so far, we've seen that the companies, the organizations don't know that they use AI. So for example, we run into departments, the head of the departments believe everything is according to the guidelines, everything goes well, and then we realized that they have much more systems that they use, not only ChatGPT and other LLMs, but other systems that they are deployed by marketing, by the HR, so nobody knows about it. So first of all, one of the biggest problems is the culture, that they are not aware what they're doing. And then, even if they know what they're doing, they don't have a governance in their organization. So it's sporadically, it's just different pieces in a puzzle, so they don't know how to bring them all together.
Mm-hmm. So first of all, you need a magnifying glass for what they're doing inside.
Correct.
I will continue with you. Okay, you talked about the problems, Yannis talked about the cost. What is the cost of non-compliance?
Most of people think that the main problem are the fines, and correct. Every time that we go to a corporation, they believe that, okay, we need to be urgent because there are the fines. The fines is one aspect, only one aspect. Some of the complaints, they come outside the organization. They are the auditing authorities that they go inside and they will impose the fines. Of course, there are also some internal issues, so many of the employees can proceed with a lawsuit or with another measure against the company if they are unhappy with the use of AI, because imagine if they have something in the HR, they have an AI system in the HR, and the employees are not informed, and no measures, no other mitigating measures have been taken in place. But it's another important issue is the fact that every company that wants to be in the front edge, they use it as a benchmark of market leadership. So with the corporation that we work so far, that they are market leaders in the energy sector, in banks and everything, they use it also. This is another aspect that most of the corporations, they don't understand. And the last one is talent acquisition and retention. Nobody would like to work in a company, would like to stay in a company that there's anarchy regarding the AI. And the AI are important tools that they need to be imposed in the day-to-day life of an employee. So there are more aspects than the fines.
So it's not only the monetary cost, it's also the cost of opportunity.
Correct,
right?
the cost of opportunity. Correct.
By the way, if you want to jump into each other about answers, please feel free to.
Absolutely agree on that. And in terms of the compliance, we've seen at least in Greece that we have the key players, the innovators are those that they come from banks, telcos, insurance, and they can afford, but they have to because also they are part of a very regulated environment, so they must follow such practices. Turning back to Petros, I totally agree on his point. What we have noticed from those that we work with here in Greece is that maybe they start at the beginning and they are not very, very happy, but in the long process, in the long 3-4 months process, they understand the value and the perks of such an endeavor. And actually, they finally see that they understand their own systems, the different departments, the interconnections between those systems, and exactly as he mentioned, that they don't know that they use AI, or they don't know which employees, who of those are using it, and how they use it. So you need to put a framework, a practical side of how you use all those systems, even if you develop them or just use them.
So from your responses, I understand that it's not only for big companies, it's also for smaller players, right?
May I take that? It's also for smaller players because everybody's in a chain. It's a supply chain. So if you want to work with one of the big companies, you need to be compliant. So you need to be at the forefront and you need to be compliant. If you don't do it, then the market will take you out. Also, the public sector, within the next 1 or 2 or 3 years, they will, in their public tenders, they will be obliged to have all these measures taken, like NIS 2, which is the cybersecurity directive. So the big companies, of course, they have high standard of compliance, but also the smaller companies need to comply if they want to provide to bigger companies.
Sure. So my previous questions were from ChatGPT. Now my questions are going to be from the LinkedIn. Let's say that I was browsing my LinkedIn last night, and Yannis, I will start with you with a clickbait question. Does Europe kill innovation with the AI Act?
Not at all, and I would like to build on the previous comment. Actually, the SMEs and even the smaller companies must follow these guidelines because they become more credible. And to what extent they become more credible? You have a specific framework that you need to follow. So you show to the economy, to the world outside, that you follow specific rules. It's quite similar with software and hardware investment the last 2 years with the AI. AI, if you don't tell AI 5 times in a sentence, then you're outdated. So they started actually 2 years ago investing on software, and now we've seen that there is a shift to hardware. Why is that? And this is what the news tell, it's not my opinion. This is because we have so many changes daily in the software part that we invest on hardware because we believe that we have a stronger competitive advantage in the long term. Similarly, with the Act here, you show that you have a specific strategy that you take into account compliance, regulations, so your employees, the market, and society as well. So you become more credible through this process as well.
But aren't we talking more about regulations and obligations instead of technology and innovation at the end of the day?
Not at all. Exactly the opposite. Once again, how we perceive this case collaboratively here. There are 3 pillars. It's the technological, the technical one. So it's the use of the systems, of the AI systems, or the development actually, or the use, whatever. Second is the security part. So starting from GDPR, NIS2, etc. We can deep down into that
we
as
can
well.
add more acronyms in a while.
That's true. And the last one that Petros definitely is much more familiar is the legal aspect of this that we need to understand as people coming from technology.
So I put you on the spotlight with this question. Now it's Petros' time. So Yannis thinks that we don't kill innovation with the Act. Does the Digital Omnibus Directive kill the Act?
Digital Omnibus is a fact. The European Union realized that we want to be in this race about AI and about all other new innovative measures. So the fact that we have Digital Omnibus about EU AI Act, the only thing that does is that smoothens the procedure. So that helps the business actually, and then it gives some more time for flexibility and be following to the rules within the next years. So we want Omnibus because Omnibus helps us, and we need to be compliant. And if I may add something to the previous question, it doesn't kill innovation. I remember back in 2018, we were advising a multinational corporation with something like more than 15 countries within the EU and outside the EU, and the GDPR came. So everybody collapsed because they say we can't do. The marketing said we can't do our work. The HR said the same. It's not the same thing. It's not the same as GDPR. Now we are in the beginning of an era of AI race. So if we do it by design, the thing is that we gain trustworthiness. So we will be better in what we do in the future. So we will be pioneers. You know very much that the European Commission has the pact. Pact is an agreement, and there are many corporations you can mention many, I think, that they have followed PAC, which is voluntarily compliant with the AI Act. So they know that this exists outside of them, and they feel that they want to oblige it voluntarily and help on that, because they want to have trustworthy AI, and they want within it to be pioneers.
True, if you see Palantir there, you know that something is happening. Now, okay, I allowed you for quite some time to be fluffy and nice and talk about ideas and values and how nicely things are done. Let's talk hands-on now. Let's say that I am a company, I want to get to a client, and I have 100 days in front of me. What do you do, and what do I get?
Jan, would you like? Shall I start? Would you like to start?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
it's fine. First, you need the 100 days to start with. You need all of them. What you actually get is 6 deliverables, 6 packs that you get back. You need 100 days because we have done this exercise with companies here in Greece from various sectors. So we have banks, we have energy, etc. So we have tested this, and we have understood that companies, no matter whether they have 250 systems or just 50, that it does make a difference. Actually, it doesn't quite much. So that's the first part. Second, the 6 deliverables are starting from your own home. What you get is you get every single system that you have in your company with the documentation, with the links with the other systems. So you get the AI registry and mapping. The AI registry does not actually have to be an AI system, because usually we say everything now AI system. It can be just an ML, machine learning approach, systems that we use the last 10, 20 years. It can be deep neural approach, a system there. So you get all together, you get the mapping, you get the registry, then you get the legal part that Petros can definitely
I'll explain more.
Yes, in detail. You get then the protocol disclosure in terms of the documentation and compliance guidelines for your own data, so you get the data governance plan as well. And then with a user protocol, and finally you get a training program. So you have different parts of training for the C-level, for the departments, those are very familiar or less familiar with those systems, all in one. The most important part is this, that is actually a tool, what you get. So it's not a report, it's a tool, and it's a monitoring one where you can use it over time. So it's just the starting point. We need to make sure that we understand the fact that it's not that one service that you just deliver and this is it. Actually, you need to monitor time over time and make changes depending on the system, depending on the new guidelines, and on the pitfalls that may arise sometimes after or at the use of a specific system. We couldn't do all this with a legal part where we both together try to understand and clarify and actually follow an interdisciplinary approach where 2 different disciplines come together and provide a specific solution.
Coexist, yeah. And they work together hand by hand. It's a technology project, and it has some legal aspects, so we work together, because if someone can claim that they can deliver that and they don't know tech, they can't do it. If someone can claim that it's an illegal job, we can't do it. It's combined forces for people who understand the market, who understand, who speak technology. Otherwise, we can't do it. So if I may elaborate a little bit on that, we have the inventory. When we have the inventory, we check if all our systems and applications apply under the EU AI Act, because many of them may not apply. Then we focus on the systems, because the AI Act is a system, it's a risk-based approach on the system. So if we see, we classify the systems, if they are forbidden, for example, or they are high risk, then we look on the organization, because the organization can have multiple roles. For example, your company can be user, which is deployer under the AI Act, can be provider, which has much more higher standards that need to be followed, or can be importer or distributor. And then as soon as we have identified what you do, then we have the internal governance, and we set procedures within the organization. So if something happens, and if you procure from a third party, who is in charge of that? Then it's a legal part because we look at the contracts and the policies again, so we prepare on that. And finally, as Yannis said, are the trainings because you need to have awareness within the organization. So imagine, depending on the exposure that your employees or the C-level or the management has in the organization, there are different levels of awareness that need to be done within the organization.
So ideally, and if done correctly, I am not left with just a bunch of papers. I'm left with procedures, governance mechanism, knowledge, and so on, right?
Correct, as Yannis said.
Okay, now, before we open the floor for questions, I want you to return back to our topic. So how can the AI Act function as a rule book that will allow us to lead the game, to win the game, to leverage it as a competitive advantage? Who wants to start?
Would you like to start?
Okay, fine. What I would say is, as we started in the beginning, and I'm very proud actually being a European citizen, because usually we tell that we just make laws, blah, blah, and all those stuff. What we have done this time is we have created the structure of innovation, to my point of view. So it's very interesting that we can include all these part of the regulation, as it says, I would say guidelines, within our development approach. So instead of just making a new AI system that you don't know how it works, try at the beginning with a specific structure and you do innovate. So the Act does not say anything about critical thinking, does not say anything about entrepreneurship, does not say anything about new ideas, new ways of thinking and working. So it just provides a specific road that you can follow so as you can make ethical, responsible, and explainable AI systems.
So innovate by incorporating ethics and building trust. Petro?
From my point of view, as I said before, it's AI Act by design. So producers, developers, if they follow that, there's no obstacle. They just do it from the beginning. They have trustworthy AI, so they have business competitive advantage. Then if they follow that, the users, so big corporations like energy, banks, health, insurance, whatever it is, they take advantage of that because they are leader in the market with that. And also, as I said, is talent acquisition and retention. So it's a 3 or 4 argument that you can follow on that. It's not at all killing innovation. If we follow it, and now that we're at the beginning by design, it's helping everybody's business for the future.
Thank you very much, both of you, for your responses. I think I will wear my academic hat now and say that, you know, if anything, the AI Act signifies the firm commitment of the European Union that not any progress is good progress. Like ethical progress is what we need, and especially if AI is actually going to be that big part of our lives, then ethics, values, and rights should be the ground on which we are building. And with that, I would like to thank you for your attention and also open the floor for questions. I mean, you've listened to us for long enough. Yes.
There are some questions, so let's go.
Hello. Can I ask a question? Is NIST AI risk framework is a good start for a company, and is it connected with the AI Act?
That's a really nice question that we actually forgot to mention how we approach it. So it's actually 3 different dimensions that we follow in order to provide the solution in this case. The one is the technical, the technological one. Second is the legal. And the third one is the security aspect. And of course, towards this direction, we didn't start by inventing the security. We started back before with GDPR. Then we moved on to NIS 2.
Explain the acronyms of NIS for everyone.
Okay, yeah.
The cybersecurity directive.
The cybersecurity, actually, yes, directions and guidelines that we need to follow. So those 3 together, they provide the final solution. So having once again, yeah, it's the acronyms, the CISO, Chief Information Security Officer of a company, is one of the key persons that has to be on board in this endeavor.
There are key elements. Imagine every corporation, when they try to sell through another corporation, the first thing that we look is the cybersecurity. So cybersecurity combined with AI Act, yeah, it's a great basis to start. So this is the thing that we see in our daily lives with other businesses. So we totally agree. This is the best base that you can start.
Hello, guys. Very interesting thing. I'm Yannis. I'm responsible for AI in Eurobank. So we're fighting every day with this, what we describe now. As you know, the EU AI Act start applying now, and we are still in black box about how the audit will start happening. My main question is how we are sure that when we classify one project is in this specific class or level, and how we monitor all that. So when the audits are coming, we are sure that what we say and all the mitigation that we took and all the monitors and the after controls, they are still in place and we can surpass the audit. Thank you.
Great. Well, I'm sure that you know much about this being on that specific sector, so you are quite familiar. That is why we need actually at the end a tool or a platform, because it's not something that you need to do now or the next 3 months because of the deadline. Because I started earlier talking about the monetary value, but it was the actual deadline as well that we were kind of forced to follow. But apart of those two, it's something that is an ongoing issue, and you need to monitor it, and you need to take mitigation plans as well. So it doesn't mean that a system is risky or not risky or a bit risky and this is it. What you have to do, what you need to do, there are specific guidelines in the Act. That is why you need to monitor, and you are right, we have to, and we must, I would say, we must develop a platform, a specific area, and dedicated bunch of people that monitor, work on that, and make sure that they follow the Act. I don't know if you...
So I would like to add 2 things. In the deliverables, we said before about governance. So when we talk about governance, depending on the organization and what are your internal policies, we create together a body that governs all the procedures. So everybody knows that's a central element in the central way that everybody has to resort, first of all. Second, due to the fact that the AI systems are amending, maybe within 3, 5, 6 months, the legislation is changing. It's a constant procedure. But if you've done the main compliance initially, then you have all the material and the way to follow up, and you can do it either internally or externally. So it's not an exercise that needs to go on with huge fees and take it outside the organization. If you set it up correctly from the beginning, then there are certain procedures and tools that you need to follow in order to be sure that you follow it every time. There's nothing such as guarantee that everything works 100%. And you know that, everybody knows that, in the banks, in the telcos, or wherever it is. But if the auditors come in and they see that you monitor it, you have people that they take care, you follow the readiness from AI literacy, which means you do seminars, you train people, you tell them you do that, you don't do that. Even if something happens, you will have mitigating factors within the public authorities. So in the deliverable, you will find a lot of solutions about it, and then it's an ongoing procedure that it can be followed potentially also internally without external advice.
I will jump in. You will not avoid me. That's why we said that it's very important that you start early, because this is where you build capacity within your own organization, and you are proactive as the Act. I think that there was also one question.
Yeah. Is there a similar act in the United States? Because there is a significant competitive advantage, as well as China, but let's keep China. So if there is something similar to the United States, and if it's not, does it mean they are not practical, they are not trustworthy? It's a
There is a lot of discussion within the United States about federal legislation. So we are expecting federal legislation to solve the issue because the states have different laws, as you know, in the United States. The EU AI Act is the first obligatory binding legal instrument that we have globally. So it is the AI Act. Of course, in the states, in certain states, for example, in New York, they have a specific AI framework about employment. So they try to regulate it within a federal level. But it doesn't mean that it's not trustworthy. It means that it's unregulated, so it's a black box. This is the understanding that we have so far.
So, during the Biden administration, we had the executive order on trustworthy AI. What happened was the administration changed, the priorities changed, the whole agenda changed. What it means there for trustworthy AI and the comparison between Europe and the United States is that Europe, instead of the patchwork of different regulations that we have in the United States, has one unique, unified framework. That is what allows not only trustworthy AI to flourish, but also innovation to be framed in a similar way. As Petros correctly said, now we have one way of approaching trustworthy AI in California, a different way in Texas, and so on and so forth. However, what Europe tries to do is to use its tradition as a regulatory powerhouse to project through the Brussels effect its regulatory power outside the European soil. And we've seen that with Canada. Canada is now discussing and debating an act very similar to the AI Act. We saw it with Australia. Australia does exactly the same thing. So what we're trying to do now for the first time is, instead of following the United States, or God save us, some other less free countries, what we're trying to do is to set the rules on our own. And that's why European companies can win the game.
The only exception that we are 5 to 7 years lagging the technology evolution of the United States. That's my point.
Let's discuss it over coffee. I might have an answer.
But you're right.
We're out of time. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much,
everybody.
Thank you for your time.